welcome to Humblehus. I am so glad you're here. We're going to make a very cute blanket for a baby. This is going to be for my nephew who hasn't been born, but my daughter will model it for us. And it's going to a place where it gets pretty cold. These are the things that we will need. Yarn. I will be using this Lion brand Scarfie. It is a bulky 5. It is 78% acrylic and 22% wool. The recommended hook size is 6.5 millimeters. That is the hook that I will be using, is 6.5. It's always good to have a measuring tape on hand. Some stitch markers. Oh, I always like to have these on hand. That helps me with the counting. Scissors and a yarn needle. The color is cream taupe, in case you want to use the same one. Start with our base chain. You will need to make a slip knot. Form a loop, insert your hook to the middle of this loop. Pull this yarn through that middle part of that loop or ring. Then hold on to both yarns, like to both ends, and pull on your hook at the same time. Then adjust this loop onto your hook. And there's your slip knot. The base chain needs to be in multiples of 16. I'm going to chain a total of 112. To that number, you need to add 1 chain, so that will give me 113 chains. And to that, you will need to add 2 more chains for the base. So that will give me 115 chains. If you want to make sure that you have the correct amount, you can always use your stitch markers after every 16 stitches so that you know, okay, that's how many multiples of 16 I have. I now have 112 chains. Now I add 1, so 113, and 2 more for the base chain. 114, 115. So you can see I used my stitch markers every 16 chains to know, so in case I got lost counting. These 3 chains that we just made, we will skip them. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And right here where your stitch marker is, or at least mine, that is where we will make our first stitch. Into these 2 stitches, basically these 2 chains, so remember we skipped 3, and then on the 4th and the 5th, we need to do 2 double crochets together. What that means is you yarn over, you insert your hook into that 4th chain, and you start a double crochet as usual. So yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops that are on your hook. That it will leave you with 2 loops on your hook. Now, instead of finishing off this double crochet, you will start a new one into that 5th chain. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. That leaves you with 3 loops on your hook. Now yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So you joined these 2 double crochets together, plus the chains that we had, those 3 that we skipped. So it's as if you had 3 double crochets together. We will now continue to do double crochets into the next 5 chains. So 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 chains. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now we need 4 more of those. Once you have those 5 double crochets, into the next chain, you will do 2 double crochets into that same stitch. So we're not joining these are not 2 double crochets together, these are just 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Now you chain 1 and again into that same stitch you will do 2 double crochets. Now we need to do 5 double crochets into the next 5 stitches again. Just be careful to really go into the next stitch. There. Okay, this next chain is going to get tricky because we have to do 5 double crochets together. Let me show you how that goes. You start your first double crochet into that stitch, that next stitch, like that, but you don't finish it off. Okay, now you go into the next chain. So this is going to be over the next 5 chains. So that was 1. You start your double crochet into the next stitch. So that's 2. You have 3 loops left on your hook. Then another one. This is going to be our 3rd. You have 4 loops on your hook. You start another one into the next chain, so that leaves you with 5 loops on your hook. And 1 more. You start your double crochet but don't finish it. You will have 6 loops on your hook. Now you yarn over and pull that loop through all of those 6. Yeah, I hope that wasn't too hard. Into the next 5 chains we will do 1 double crochet into each. Just realized that I have some ink here. Sorry about that. See how this is doing a little zigzag? Okay, now into the next stitch or the next chain, we are going to do 2 double crochets into that same stitch. Now chain 1 and do 2 double crochets again into that same stitch. Now we do 5 double crochets again into the next 5 stitches or chains. Okay, just took out the stitch markers. Now here comes that stitch again with the 5 double crochets together. Let me show it to you one more time. So we're working over the next 5 chains. Basically each chain will have a double crochet, and at the top we join them together. So yarn over, insert your hook and start that first double crochet but don't finish it off. Into the next chain, do the same, 3 loops. That's 2 chains so far. 3 chains will give you 4 loops. 4 chains will give you 5 loops. And 5 chains will give you 6 loops. Now yarn over and pull these all together. There you go. Now continue with 5 double crochets, 1 into each of the next chains. Continue with this pattern until you are almost at the end of your chain, and I will meet you there. I am almost at the end of this first row, and the way you know that you ended correctly is, so you had the 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, then 5 double crochets over the next 5 chains, and you should have 3 chains left. With those 3, what we're going to do are 3 double crochets together. So start the double crochet over the next 3 chains and don't finish them, remember, so keep them on your loop. So you started them, you should have 4 loops, and then you yarn over and pull through all 4. So there's those, basically the 3 double crochets together at the top. And then turn your work. For row number 2, you will, after you turned your work, you will chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and we will not work into this stitch. We're going to skip this stitch. We will work into this next one. You are going to do 2 double crochets together, but on the back of our fabric. So it's called a raised double crochet on the back. Let me show you how that goes. The way you do the raised double crochet at the back of the fabric, you skip this first one. So these were the 3 double crochets together that we had from the previous row, and then we work into these 2. Now you see there are posts right here, so that's one post and that's another post. We will be working around them, but through the back. Okay, not through the front. Right now it's through the back. You yarn over, and then you insert your hook between the posts, and then around that first post you yarn over, you pull up a loop, you yarn over, you pull through the first 2 loops like that. Now we want to do a second one. So before finishing off this double crochet, you yarn over, you will go, so we went through this post, now we are going into the next one. Also through the back of our fabric, insert your hook, go around the post, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, leaving you with 3 loops on your hook, and now you yarn over and pull through all 3. So this counts as 3 raised double crochets at the back of our fabric. Now we will do our double crochets through the front of our fabric. So raised double crochets at the front into the next 5 stitches. We will do 1 double crochet around the front. Let me show you. Yarn over, here's that next post, so you will insert your hook through there, then go around the back of that post, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, so we do want to finish that one. So yarn over through the front of our fabric, behind this post, and do your double crochet as usual. See, so that's 2. Now we go into this next post, yarn over through the front of our fabric. As long as you get it right with the front and the back of the fabric, you'll be fine. Okay, and this is my last one. So there we go. Those were the 5 that we did through the front of the fabric. We will do again into this space that we have. We will do the 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, just like we did in row number 1. You simply insert your hook into that space. 2, now chain 1 and do another 2. We will continue with 5 double crochets just like these 5 that we did through the front. Now we do that over here. So yarn over and then go around this post, do your double crochet. That's 1. There we have those 5 raised double crochets at the front of the fabric. This next part is a little bit confusing because of these 5 double crochets together from the previous row, and because we're working on the back. We need to join all of these with 5 double crochets together on the back. So raised double crochets on the back of the fabric. Start with your first post, going through the back. And remember, do not finish off that double crochet because you need to pull it apart so you really see where that next post is, or stem. This is that second one. Okay, now here we need to go through this big chunk of yarn, this space and this space. Okay, just pull it apart and you see where your other post is, and that's how you know where you need to go. So yarn over, in through the back, insert your hook, and then this is that space. Okay, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. There you have it. Now here comes the next post. This will be number 4. Oops. And our last one through the back. Oops. It's easy to go through more loops than you need. So here are my 6 loops. Yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. There you go. Now we continue into so with the next 5 posts, we will do the raised double crochets, but through the front of the fabric. I think those are fairly easy. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we reach that space again where we do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. This yarn doesn't glide as smoothly on my hands as I would like it to. There you go. So the next 5 posts, we need to do those raised double crochets on the front of the fabric. And then we come back to that same spot where I showed you how to do the raised double crochets at the back of the fabric, the 5 of them together. Let me show it to you once again, just in case. We go through the back of this first post. You start that first double crochet, then that second post. Okay, and then this is where you need to go. So you need to kind of pull it apart. You will go into this space and this space. So basically between these posts. And then continue with the other 2. Now join these. Repeat this pattern until you get to the end of this row. I will meet you towards the end. This is now the end of row number 2. There is 1 stem, 2, and this. So this would look like 3, 4, 5, but no. This part over here is that chain of 3 that we skipped at the very beginning, plus the 2 double crochets. So this counts as 1. So 1, 2, and 3. Because you just did those 5 raised double crochets at the front of the fabric, you need to do now normally we would have the 5 together, but it's only going to be counted as 3 at the back of your fabric. So start with that first one at the back. Remember, so they're going to be together. So 1, now this is that second stem or post. 2, okay, and so you have to insert your hook at the top of that 3rd chain. This is 1 chain, 2, here's that 3rd chain. So yarn over, go through the back of your fabric, and then you will insert into this top chain and finish that stitch as usual. So like that. So those were 3 stitches. You have 4 double crochet, you have 4 loops on your hook. Now we put them all together. Now let's turn our work. Chain 3. We need to put 2 double crochets together over these next 2 posts. So yarn over the front. Remember, start that double crochet but do not finish it, and then into the next post, start but do not finish it. Now yarn over and pull through all 3. So it's like having 3 raised double crochets together at the front of the fabric with that chain of 3 that we made. Into the next 5 stitches you will do 1 double crochet into each at the back of the fabric, 1 around each post, and 5. And now it's always the beginning and the end, the beginning and the end that's a little hard. Now we're at our space here again, where we do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all into this space. Now into the next 5 posts, we will do 1 raised double crochet at the back of the fabric over the next 5 stitches. Now we need to put these 5 together, but this time we're going to do it through the front. So raised double crochets at the front of our fabric. Start with that first post. Don't finish it off. This is tricky, right? Like, do I go through here? Do I go through here? So I go through the bottom part. Okay, and now this is that big post that we need to get. Remember? So yarn over and go all the way through. That, and then 2 more. And there we have our 5 raised double crochets together at the front of the fabric. Do our raised double crochets at the back of our fabric, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the space, and then 5 raised double crochets again at the back of our fabric, and then the front. So we just basically switched. I will meet you towards the end of this row. I am almost at the end of row number 3, and we did those 5 raised double crochets at the back of the fabric, and now you would do the 5 raised double crochets together at the front, so through the front of the fabric. But this is again where we count as 3. So this is 1 post, 2 right here, and then these 2 double crochets plus the chain make 3. So remember that you have to go into the top of that chain. So start through the front, start that first double crochet, don't finish it off. If there's any background noise, my little one is just playing here next to me. Then start that second one, and then we count this, all of this as 1. So insert your hook through here and then to the top of that chain. Now you have your 4 loops left and join. Now turn your work. Now we start row number 4. What you need to do now is repeat rows number 2 and 3 all the time until you reach the desired length of the blanket that you want. Go back in the video and see how I did row number 2 and then row number 3. What you basically need to watch out for is that you're doing the correct order of front or back. In case you're almost running out of your first skein and you don't know how to switch over, the way I do it over here is I start my next double crochet, this, and then I just do the first part of it. Now I grab my new yarn, make a little loop, and pull it through the way I would pull the other one through. Now I continue with my next stitch as usual, and I try to put my yarn, the one that is left over, I'm going to run it along, and that's how you then continue on with your blanket. I am going to stop here, and the blanket measures about 24 inches, 24 to 25 inches in length, and it is about 21 inches in width. Let's do the rim for or the border for this blanket. I ended the stitch from the previous row. Now I turn my work, I chain one, and into this space that we would normally skip right here, I am going to single crochet into it. And then I can add a stitch marker here to remind me where I started. All along this part of the blanket, I will only do single crochets. So you go into this space right here through both of these loops, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two loops. So before we were working into these spaces, but now we are working into these smaller ones. Where we chained one, you have that space here. When you've come to this part, you do not insert your hook here, you insert your hook right there. My last stitch, because remember there was that 3 raised double crochets together at the end, so it looks like 1, 2, 3, but no, if you turn it around, you can see that this was that first stitch. So you skip these 2 and into that chain that you made, the chain of 3, that very top, that is where you make your last single crochet after this. Now let's go around on this side of the blanket. This is a little bit harder because you're like, where do I insert my hook? You will get into the rhythm of it, into which stitches you're going. At the beginning it's a bit hard. So this was a chain of 3. You want to cover as much space as you can. So since we are turning a corner here at the end, do another single crochet right here. And you can mark this as well so that you remember, okay, where did I do that increase? That's what it is, 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Now I'm going to insert my hook into this space of the chains, and then I don't want to go into any stitches where there's only one piece of yarn because that will look very pulled. You always want there to be more, at least 2. So don't worry if it's not perfect, and even if you have 1 or 2 stitches more than on the other side, that's okay as well. Unless you want to count them, that's fine too. On this part of the blanket, when you reach this space that we have down here, you will simply skip it and do your single crochet into the next stitch. Now here you have those 5 stitches together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you do the first 2 as usual, and then into this third one you will do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. basically an increase, because otherwise it's going to fold too much. I am back at my stitch marker. I have gone around once, so around the blanket, and now I will start again with single crochets right here, and I will go across and do single crochets. You will go to the other end, and you do double crochets along this side. Can't get the whole blanket into the picture, into the screen, but you get an idea. Now to fasten this off, I'm back here where my stitch marker is with my last stitch, and all I am going to do is a slip stitch. You insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you pull that same loop through your hook. Now cut off the yarn, then yarn over and pull that through the loop, make it tight, thread it back into the blanket. You're done. Perfect. I like it a lot. I like how it turned out. Hopefully you enjoyed making it, and that goes to a cute little baby, or if you're making one for yourself, I hope it keeps you nice and warm during the winter months. Thank you as always for watching. Please subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Humblehus. I will see you next week, hopefully, if I finish the project. If not, in 2 weeks. This is Humblehus. Bye!